Now what this process is when the water shoveling from the atmosphere and through the ground, it's going to pick up from organic material above us, carbon dioxide. Now when this carbon dioxide mixes into this water, it turns it into a very weak acid. We like to call it carbonic acid, which is the same stuff you drink in soda. So it's not going to hurt us, but it is, however, strong enough to break up and dissolve our limestone layers, creating this cave. Now that same process, again, is what creates the formations inside this cave as well. When the water breaks up that limestone, instead of what I like to say, it doesn't delete it, it just moves it. Now when it moves it elsewhere, a small amount of that gas can be released from that water, and it can't carry as many minerals as it did before. So when that process happens, it allows an accumulation to build. When that accumulation builds, it turns into the beautiful formations you guys see in this cave system. Now it takes an incredibly long time for this to happen. To give you an idea of how long that would take, for 1 cubic inch of formation in this cave would take over 100 years worth of growth. So keep in mind, when people ask me how old everything in here is, my favorite answer, it's incredibly old, and you can't go wrong saying it.
She's old.
Now, a lot of them, however, do have specific names. The ones that hang from the ceiling, we like to call those stalagmites. And the easy way to remember those, they hold on tight to the ceiling. Very good.
And then stalagmites are the one that come out of the ground.
Which ones?
The stalagmites.
You nailed it, boss. The stalagmites come out of the ground, and the best way to remember them, you got this one?
No.
That's okay. They might reach the ceiling. I've also heard some people say you might trip over them. Whichever one, as long as you can remember it. Now, when they grow above and below each other, they have that option of meeting together. I'm going to do something along those lines. They basically create what we would just call a column. It can also be referred to as a cave pillar. I really don't think it matters what you call it, as long as you have the idea of what it's doing. Right. Now, if you're wondering, do they have to be this big in order to actually be a column? The answer to that is no. If you look across the lot here, you will see one that's barely a few inches.
No, aquí no cargo porque te caes.
So just a few inches, and it touches top and bottom, that makes it a column. Then, we have these ones right up here, and these ones actually have 3 different names. You can call this one a drapery, 2 a curtain, or 3 also referred to as cave bacon. Now, if you guys look at the side of it, kind of see how I got it stand for that bacon part.
Just looks like bacon.
Now, the last one I want to talk about, and then we'll talk about the big one, is actually this one that's on this wall. Now, we have plenty of examples of what this formation is, but the reason I like using this one is it helps me explain to you guys how it forms. Now, what you guys are looking at right here on this white wall is a formation we like to call flowstone. Now, basically how flowstone forms is out of the cracks of our cave wall. And again, the reason why I use this one is you can see that white formation comes from no other than the crack in that wall right there. So when the water was running down that wall, the minerals had no choice but to follow that pattern of the water. So when everything was kind of set in place, it made the stone look like it was flowing. Again, referred to as flowstone. It's very, very beautiful. Now again, we have large examples of this in our cave, actually sitting right there in front of us. Now with all of this flowstone, if you look just underneath it, you'll see we have more bacon. So we consider this thing again to be the biggest formation in our cave. From the top to the bottom, it sits at 90 feet in official height, and it is 50 feet in diameter. I'll say it for you. Wow! Just incredible! I know, just super cool. Now, not only that,
Oh no, that scared me.
we are going to interact with it as well. We are going to walk right through the center of this formation thing. So if you've never had the opportunity to walk through a cave formation before today, you get to do that with us. You guys ready? Want to follow Kenny?
No. I want an adult in front of you and an adult behind you.
Just stay close to each other. Touch that.
That's it.
One day.
Just the railing.
We're going. Oh wow!
Don't touch it though. Just don't touch.
Are some of these fake because they need wires down here to power the lights? It's okay, Abby. We won't. Wow. So pretty. I was right, Mom.
Look at that one.
It's a tower. Oh!
So I always thought the longest
A piece of water just fell on my neck.
apparently not. So my boss, he was working on an island, and the point of this island was to attract more tourism. So he was helping them build a cave. He's not the kind of guy that would like man-made stuff to be built and people be attracted to it and spend money on it. He just doesn't like that kind of stuff. He actually, for many years, avoided buying man-made rock because he just doesn't like it. Anyways, so this was pushing past a little bit of his limits. But anyways, he was helping him create this cave because he's very aware of how formation form and all that. Well, while he was in his cave, it happened about 3 different times, he said, that every time an earthquake happened in the area, it never affected the cave system, but everybody on the surface always knew it happened. So he was always trying to figure out why that was. What's causing that? What's skipping over the cave? The cave acts like an air pocket. There's physical waves that the ground shakes with an earthquake, and then there's other waves that are actually controlling the surface, correct? So one goes to the ground, one goes on the surface. Well, caves act like an air pocket. Those vibrations that would typically go underneath the ground go around the cave versus through it, right? Now, if the ground's shifting and moving in that area, that's where the potential dangers start. But otherwise, if it just shimmers and shakes, the cave's gonna be just fine. Another way to put it in perspective, have you ever heard the New Magic fault line? Yeah? Okay. It's just on the east side of Missouri, super close to where we are right now. If it was so powerful that it made the Mississippi go backwards in the 1800s for 3 days straight, that earthquake that happened should have affected this cave system at one point or another, right? No evidence has ever showed that earthquake affected this cave. So this is something to think about. Yeah. So keep in mind, earthquakes you really want to not be in there, but it could potentially be safe. So now I'll be honest, what we have is tornadoes. Cave tornadoes, you're safe. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, because
She said don't touch it.
right off the top.
Mommy said you could have the water that falls.
Okay.
It's just water.
Nothing's falling.
So, if you guys are wondering, if you look back in that direction over there,
even
so
touch it.
when I mean back in that direction, I mean the direction that's not facing me. Now, what you guys are looking at right there is the second largest formation in our cave, standing at 65 feet in official height. So this would be the largest column in our cave. Now, one really cool thing about that column over there is when the first cave explorer came down, sitting on that oak branch, that was about right here. When he was looking at this thing, right up at the top, he thought he was looking at an angel. This would be the draping robe, that would be the left wing, and that would be the right wing. So as you piece this thing together, you can almost see this beautiful flying angelic figure. Now when you piece it all together, it kind of makes sense on how we got our name. You got a beautiful angelic figure, you have this cave that looks like a beautiful fantasy land. You kind of piece it one together and get fairy caves. Now, with that being said though, over the 5-6 years we've been working here, I've met a lot of kids, and they always see something different. But the one thing I'll share with you that I hear often enough is if you look at it just right, you can see a double-decker ice cream cone. 1 scoop, 2 scoop, there's the cone, the 4 fingers as the ice cream melts off the bottom.
Oh, wow.
I got that from a 5-year-old. I'm incredibly impressed.
Oh, my
Now, if
God.
you see other things, I 100% believe you, but the most common one again is that ice cream cone. Yeah.
Water. Oh, right in the middle of my head.
Keep themselves out of the box.
I got one on the back of my neck.
They're like, nah.
Don't touch the rock, just the water. Don't drink it.
Okay, now on an unrelated subject, but still related to the cave, one thing this cave likes to do at least once a year is it likes to flood. If you guys want to do this with me, you'll love this. Grab your hand, throw it on this top railing next to you. Where your hand is right now is the highest the water level that naturally goes inside of the cave. Oh yeah. Now if you look over that railing, that's the top of the cave right there. That is anywhere from 25 to 30 feet of water. Now, a lot of people ask me, this is about a second up right here. Would you guys go get paid for? The answer is yes. We go into your feet touch the water, turn right back around. And that's typically just at those steps right there. Now, if you're wondering what time this happens, typically around April. Again, it's only once a year. And that's our record. It has never gotten any higher than this rate. So keep that in mind.
Good, see. Mom, there's a crack down there.
Pero la niña
Oh, you know what?
va
They can afford that section. They can afford that section. I know more about caves than I should conference. And when you guys are all coming down, this goes for everyone. There's 2 corner steps right here. This is a little bit more narrow. Just watch your feet for it, okay?
It's recording. Ooh, there's a lake.
What is it?
I said it looks like a lake.
Oh, I thought you said who does the electric? I was like, man.
Oh.
Don't.
That's a great question.
Who knows? It's a lake. Ooh, so pretty. Buzzy up. Yeah, it's so scary. Oh, so pretty. Can we get off this bridge? Can we get off this bridge? Can we get off this bridge?
So now you guys are still kind of sitting in over here. I do want to talk a little bit about this formation right here, and just to kind of explain what's going on. And I'm going to do my best to try to summarize what you haven't noticed.
Someone dropped the net.
So, to give you an idea of why this thing is important,
Someone dropped the net.
is we didn't have to do a single thing with this formation besides break 2 draperies on the exit side of this thing in order for you to be able to walk through it today. Otherwise, what you're walking through is everything natural. We didn't have to do a single thing to it besides break those 2 draperies at the exit. Now, how that occurs is somewhere when this formation was being created, there was a natural amount of clay just underneath this ledge right here. So all the formations grew around, but never in the body of the clay. When water came through the center of the formation and washed all that clay out, supposedly leaving this natural opening. Now, is that straight fact? We have a lot of evidence pointing towards this, but we weren't here when this thing was being created. So that's the best evidence we have of how this thing came about. Now, again, the cool thing is, you can walk in something completely natural today. Now, how you're going to do that is right here at the entrance, right here at the entrance, you're going to touch on the walls about where your waist is for us. The reason we ask this of you is so 1, you keep your balance, and 2, it allows future generations of people to be able to walk through this entrance. Now, on the inside, however, you're going to get a small room. We ask you to be very careful not to touch anything in the center room because everything in there is still growing, and we'd love to keep it that way. As far as the exit of this thing goes, you're going to notice 2 broken draperies above you, but the real indicator is when you're walking, you'll have to walk over a stalagmite.